Okay, here I am in the tree again. I'm in South Africa in the Limpopo province, hunting with Bushmen Safaris. They were gracious enough to let me bring a couple of tree stands over this year. This is my third time hunting here. Really, really nice people and really good spot for hunting. So I'm just got settled in this tree, and yes, I'm sweating a little bit. It's probably about 85 degrees right now, but it drops down into high 40s and low 50s at night. And there's not a cloud in the sky today, so it's very, very nice weather for hunting. We have a natural water hole that we're sitting over right now, and they said there's been some waterbuck and some zebra coming into this water hole, so we're looking forward to giving this a try. People always want to know what time of year to come to Africa, and just so you know, it's May the 4th, 2024. It's just going into their winter season, so it will just get cooler from here, not warmer. But the weather's really beautiful today, so I've got my release on, so I've got my bow hanging here, so we're gonna turn this camera off and see if we can get something to come in. This is the tree stands that I got. I got 2 sets of them. They have 4 sets of steps, the stand itself, and then those straps you just saw. The bottom of that stand is adjustable, so you can adjust it if the tree is leaning a little bit. This is one of the steps here. You just take the step, you put it right up against the tree, and then the straps that come with these steps don't have to be super tight. They have a bunch of little loops in them like this, and you just hook it on there, and then once you get it hooked on, then you just kind of give the step a tug down to tighten it up, and that's all you do. These steps fold out like this, the top step and then the bottom step, and they're pretty lightweight. They don't weigh a lot, and each set comes with 4 of these. For this video, I just put 2 on a tree just to show you how it works. So there's the bottom one, and then I got one right up above it. And then I went ahead and hung the stand also. The stand comes with a good ratchet strap with 2 straps. One's a ratchet and one's one of the pull tight kind. And then you can see the other 2 there. Okay, we got to Bushman late at night. We slept in the morning, and then we got up and got our gear ready. You can see here I hung a tree stand that next afternoon and put those steps. A lot of those trees over there are not long and straight like we have in the South in America, and so having those tree steps that are separated allow you to kind of work your way up a tree. You can see here, this is my arm that I put my phone on. And we're going to talk a little bit about self-filming in Africa this time, because this was the first trip I had been on that I did not have either a PH or a family member with me to help me film. And quite frankly, I didn't really do a very good job. But the first animal on my list was Waterbuck. And my heart skipped a beat when this one came in, because this was the first afternoon, and this is a nice Waterbuck. And I was definitely ready to take a shot at this thing. I was thinking, man, I'm going to get a Waterbuck the first afternoon. But he came straight in like this, drank, and then he turned just like the zebras do. He turned and walked straight away from me and never gave me a shot. But anyway, this was a good one, first day, and I've also included a few others that I saw on this trip. Getting close to the end of the hunt, I had this nice waterbuck come in one afternoon, and I could tell he was a good one. So I was talking about filming myself over there. I actually had two cameras set up on this guy. I had my phone out the end, filming him here, and then I had a Tacticam pointed out the front. And when he got out of range from one, I picked him up with the other. But as happened to me several times on this trip, when he got over ready for the shot, I drew my bow and he took a couple more steps and he walked right out of the camera and I shot. As a matter of fact, you can tell if you look in the lower right corner of this next clip here, you can actually see the water splashing after I shot and where he ran off. Okay, I included this little footage here because the guides were tracking up my waterbuck and it had just gotten dark, and so I got down and got all my stuff, and then I headed over to where they were, and I got real close to this snake, and luckily I had a light on my hat and I noticed it. And then being from the south, you know, you're always kind of used to keeping an eye out for snakes because we have our fair share here as well. But luckily I spotted this one before I stepped on it. This one's a puff adder.
Would you like on it, please? Would you like on it again?
Yep. Got him that time. I don't know how much of that I got on film, but so the next animal on my list was a red Hartebeest. Unfortunately, I totally bombed on this one as far as getting him on film. He got a little spooked and ran way off to the right where I shot him, but I was nowhere even close to getting him on film. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on this one, but I will show you a couple pictures of some female waterbuck that came in. I mean, not waterbuck, but red Hartebeest, and then also the after shots. All right, I got my cameraman JP filming for me. What day is it, JP?
It's the 8th of May.
May the 8th at 9:12 in the morning. It's our red Hartebeest.
Big one. Good bull.
So JP is lucky enough to call Bushmen Safaris home. He's a 12-year-old son of Johan and Marina, and he's already quite the hunter in his own right. I asked him to send me a couple videos of a couple of his hunts. So this is a Impala he shot and a blue wildebeest he shot with a crossbow, but he's already working on compound bow. I think he told me he was pulling 45 pounds already, so he is turning into quite the bow hunter. JP is a very polite and smart young man. Really enjoyed getting to spend a little time with him in camp. So another animal that I didn't add to the list, but I've always wanted to try to get, was a baboon. The baboons over there are very skittish. They can see really well. They can see into the blind better than most animals. So I had the windows closed down and was way back in the shadows. and I had a pretty nice one come in, but they don't stay still very long. So when they come in to drink, they squat way down. They almost lay on their belly, so it's not a very big target. But I had this one good-sized baboon come in. He was 31 yards, laying on his belly. I took the shot, and I was just a little bit high. So then another hunter saw the baboon the day after. This baboon right here that's running across in the middle, that's the one I shot, and my arrow just skimmed right off its rump. So I didn't get that one, but it was an interesting encounter. Once again, my camera was pointed in one direction. I thought I had him in film, but he stepped right out of the frame of the camera when I shot. The next animal was the black wildebeest. And if you don't know, you have to have a special permit in a lot of places to kill a black wildebeest because they are not native to a lot of these areas. So anyway, that's something you can arrange ahead of time. But I managed to get some good footage of this one and one of my better animals too. There's some blood right there. And then there's world-renowned expert tracker Keystone, Wave Keystone. Say something funny. Okay, that's good enough. And there's Johan. Hey, Johan.
There you go.
And there's the black wildebeest right there in the road.
Congratulations.
The next animal on my list was a bushbuck. Bushbuck is one of the spiral horn animals, and they live along the riverbanks. So Bushmen Safaris has access to a very nice piece of property right on the Limpopo River. You can tell by this footage here, this is my tree stand that I took over there and set up, and you can see how close it was to the river, right on the bank of the water. A really fun hunt. Every time I would get up in that tree stand, this baboon would climb up in this tree about 55 yards away and make all kind of racket. It didn't like me being up there. But if you look carefully in these trees, you can see a couple of different bushbuck walking. And they were very skittish, hard to get to, and also very hard to get the full draw on. We were kind of in some tight quarters here. Every time I would get the full draw, they would bust me. So I actually saw 3 different bushbuck from this one stand and never got a shot. Being right on the Limpopo River, you see a lot of different animals, and it was very exciting and scenic to be on the water. Here's some more footage of another bushbuck that came in the bottom left. He's a good one, but I just couldn't get a shot at him. You might have noticed that barking noise. A bushbuck makes a bark kind of like a small dog, as a warning bark. Although I was unsuccessful at getting a bush buck this time. I did get a really nice one the next place I visited, so stay tuned for that video. This big crocodile slipped right by the base of my tree about 5 yards away out in the water. He never knew I was there. Okay, let's shift gears here just a little bit and talk about the Impala. So I was there at the beginning to middle of May, and the Impala rut was in full swing. And some of this footage that I'm showing you here, it shows you a lot of rutted behavior from these Impala rams. And there was big Impala rams everywhere. Those Impala make a great flat skin, they call them, or a rug or a throw that you can throw over the back of a couch or a chair or whatever. And I actually had this idea that I would shoot a few Impala and try to make a comforter for one of the beds that I use at our hunting lodge. And so I wanted to shoot a few, and we had a ball chasing the Impala. You notice this Impala ram here kind of doing a lip curl, not unlike our whitetails here in the States do when it's their rut. And they were definitely rutting and carrying on and making a lot of noise. This was a nice ram here. It actually came in fairly close. And right before I got ready to shoot, it took 2 steps and got out of the camera frame again. And you can see I shot. It spined him, and 2 flops and he's back in the camera frame, but he died fairly quickly. One of the things I thought was interesting about the Impala rut is a lot of times these Impala rams would come in by themselves, the older, more mature rams. Like this one, you can tell he's old and mature, his body's full, plus his horns are heavy. He's got decent width and average to decent length. I decided I'd go ahead and try to get a shot at this one because he's obviously a mature ram. As this ram is making his way into the water hole, you can tell there are also 2 or 3 other big rams coming in to join him. And this particular ram got right close to the water, and again, as soon as I got ready to shoot, he took 2 or 3 steps out of the frame, and I shot, and then I captured him running back through the frame, and you can see where the arrow exited. But one bit of advice I would give you guys if you want to self-film in Africa, and that is to practice letting your bow down quietly. I've got my bow set around 70 pounds, and I cannot let that thing down very quiet. It seems to always make a noise where the arrow will pop off of the string. And so if you can get to where you let that bow down quietly, you can let it down, readjust your camera, and then come to full draw again. One thing I learned about the zebra over there in Africa is it's one of the few animals that when it grazes, it actually grabs the grass and pulls it out by the roots and eats it. So they can only have so many zebras over there or they'll overgraze a piece of property. So they allowed us to take part in a management hunt, get rid of a few of the zebras. Again, no, I didn't get this on film, but here's some pictures of a very beautiful zebra. Okay, I had not forgotten about my tree stands. So far up to this point, all of the animals I've gotten so far have been out of a blind, either an elevated blind or a ground blind. But when you get out of the blind, you get things like this with this gray lorries land in the same tree I'm in, and you can hear them in the background. You can also see where I have my phone right there in order to video while I'm hunting. So here's a little picture that shows you the setup I'm in. I'm not very high. I only used 3 of the steps to get in there. But keep in mind, I took the stands over there. I hung the steps. I hung the stand itself. I trimmed all the bushes and branches, got my shooting lanes. I did everything like I would have done it had I been hunting here on my home ground, except over there, and really had a good time. It was very enjoyable. I had this group of blue wildebeest come in, and they never knew I was in that tree, so I figured now would be a good time. The blue wildebeest is plentiful in South Africa, in the Limpopo province, and they're not real expensive. So I tried to wait to get a good shot. As the wildebeest maneuvered around, they got within 25 yards. Unfortunately, this branch was in the way, but when you're setting your tree stand, you don't want to cut down all of the branches. You want to leave some cover, and so that's what I did. I made a decent shot on this wildebeest. It's a little high and a little forward. And the guys ended up tracking it for a day and a half, but we finally got it. that is a big boy. Well, I got my bow in the back seat. Man, that is a big sable right there.
That's a big
So every time I go to Africa, I end up with a lot of footage of animals and things. It's like this very pregnant Gemsbok cow that are very unique and great footage, but it doesn't really have much to do with the hunt. So anyway, sometimes I like to just put a little bit of that footage on there, because when you go to Africa, it's not just about killing stuff. You'll see all kinds of different things that you never would have thought you would see. So here's just a little bit of some of that, and then we'll get back to it. So we had 3 other couples in camp this time that I was hunting, and some of them were nice enough to send me some footage from their hunts. So here's a couple of those. wanted to talk real briefly about Bushmen Safaris. I'll give you a little tour of the lodge and the surroundings here with my drone. But Bushmen Safaris is 22,000 acres of continuous land. In other words, some places put a bunch of cross fences in on their property, and they have certain animals in certain fences, and that's where you go to hunt them. But Bushman only has one section that's fenced off other than the 22,000, and it's like 800 acres, so it's a pretty good piece in itself. But these animals are very wild, and they are not used to being around people. And in Africa, this is considered very much a fair chase hunt. There is a fence around the whole 22,000 acres on the outside, but in Africa, they have once you fence your property in, then you own the animals that are in the fence. So you make the rules then instead of having to follow rules of the province. And so most people do that just so they can control their own animals and when they get to hunt. Another thing that is unique to Bushmen Safaris, and Bushman is the only place I've heard of or been to in Africa that does this, and that is they allow you to hunt by yourself. So if you're a do-it-yourselfer or you're used to doing things on your own or by yourself, or if you just are uncomfortable sitting in a blind 10 hours a day with somebody that you just met, then the Bushmen Safaris is for you, because they have great hunting and great people, but they do not have to sit with you all the time. Now, there is an advantage to having a PH with you, a professional hunter, especially if you're new to hunting Africa, because there's a lot to learn and there's a lot of different animals. But if you don't want one, you don't have to have one. This little bit of footage I'm including right here is from a drone that I took out to one of the elevated blinds. And I just wanted to kind of show you a typical setup at Bushman. This is an elevated blind over a water hole. There's typically a salt block somewhere close by. And then as the drone gets down closer, you can kind of see the quality of the blinds and how nice they are. And unfortunately, I am not a very good drone pilot. So as I come down, I try to get a little bit of footage on the inside of the blind, and I get too close and crash my drone. So not a big deal. It didn't tear it up, but you can see I had the sun in my eyes, and I just got too close. But anyway. And boom, all the way to the ground. It almost went in the water. But anyway, they have a really nice setup. And you can see here, this is the lodge at night with the pool lit up and all the lights on. This is what they call a lapa, which is an open air lodge, and it is first class. So if you're a serious bow hunter looking for a bow hunt in Africa, I would highly recommend Bushmen Safaris. They're bow hunting only, and they have the setup perfect for us bow hunters. I'm going to include the contact information for Bushman, and give Dani a call and she'll get you set up.